everyone. Here we go. So, I still need this. My German is not good enough. So.
Channel 2 for English.
2?
Yeah. Have you got? Yeah, perfect.
Let's go.
Okay, good evening, everyone. We'll start our press conference today with Jose Mourinho. Following this will be our player, Ryan Sessegnon. If you do have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get to you. Who'd like to go first? We'll start with Mike over there. Thank you.
Jose, you can't move up or down in the table, but could you tell us, in your own words, why this is an important game? Why will you be fielding a strong team in it as well?
It's an important game because we represent Tottenham, and that doesn't matter. The game, the objectives, the ambitions, the competition. Tottenham is Tottenham, and that gives us always a sense of responsibility. But we cannot finish first. We cannot have that privileged position in the draw of playing against second on the table, on playing the second match at home. So the result is not going to change anything. One thing that I'm not having is time, and when I say time, I say also time to know my players well, to know all my players well, and this is also a great opportunity for some of them to play, for some of them to show what they're capable of. A player in competition is different than a player in training, and some of my boys, they didn't have the chance from me to play many minutes in these five matches that I've played since I arrived. So we tried to mix a little bit these factors. We need to play for Tottenham, and that is responsibility. But at the same time, there are other things, and the Premier League is a special competition. It's not just the number of matches; it's also the intensity and the quality, and the pressure, and the competitiveness in every match. We are going to have, as you all know, an incredible number of fixtures until the new year, and I think it's understandable that we are going to make a few changes, and we are going to rest a few players and give opportunity to others.
Okay, take a question here. If you raise your hand, we can get the microphone to you. Thank you.
Mr. Mourinho, I read that you learned some German in the last couple of months before the job in Tottenham. What was your motivation and how difficult was it? Maybe you can answer in German.
No, not yet. The motivation is to learn. I try to learn all the time, and I was not, as you know, working for a few months. And curiosity and, it's culture. I would love to be here and to answer you in German, which in this moment, of course, I cannot, but I would love. So that was the motivation. It was not related to jobs, as you can probably think, and you wrote at the time, but not at all.
Okay, take a question at the front here from Dan. We'll move to Paul after that. So Dan, raise your hand. Right here, thank you. The next one will be from Paul.
Thanks. Hi, Jose. Hey. This squad's obviously been together for a long time at Tottenham. These players have been together for 4 or 5 years in some cases.
there's been a lot of talk about needing a new chapter or a refresh over the last couple of seasons. When you look at your squad out here with guys like Sessegnon and Walker-Peters and Troy Parrott, do you see perhaps a glimpse of the future of the next phase of Tottenham?
I think if I remember Tottenham, since I come back to England for my second spell, I think this is basically the profile. You have a fantastic group of players, and then you have always some younger players coming. It's part of the DNA of the club. It's part of the culture. It's also part of the passion and the relation between the fans and the team. I think the Spurs supporters, they like to see the young boys coming from the academy, a different profile of some other big clubs in English football and also in world football. So this is part of us. So the mid-age in our squad is really low. Of course, there are players in the best years of their careers, in the mid-20s, in the early 30s. We have lots of players. The nucleus of the team is based on that. But then you have, as you were saying, some of the names that you were speaking are, of course, players that we care. And you look, for example, to the last match on the weekend, and when I had the opportunity to make changes with the result without any kind of pressure. I had on the bench players like who was on the bench, Eriksson, Lo Celso, somebody else, I don't remember now. But then the opportunities went to the under-20s, which I think is very important for them.
Criticism, Jose, of your handling of young players and your handling of academies in the past, maybe at Chelsea and United. Do you think that's been fair criticism? And are you determined to prove at Tottenham that it was unfair?
Yeah, it's very important. Scott McTominay is only the best player at Manchester United. Rafael Varane is one of the best players in the world. Is fair criticism, yeah.
Take a question from Paul just here. Raise your hand, Paul. Thank you.
Hi, Jose. People seem to be enjoying this version of Jose Mourinho. Son says you're always making jokes and smiling. Dyer says he's enjoying playing for you. Can you give us an idea what the reasons are behind those early connections with the Spurs players are?
No, first of all, I am the same guy in every one of my jobs. I'm the same person. I can be happier, less happier. That's normal. I can love more or less the club, more or less the players, more or less the structure around me. But I am the same. So I don't think there is many difference on me. Probably the differences are in the players and in the club. The players are guys that I enjoy very much to work with them. I feel them very coachable. I feel them in need of my experience, in need of my support, and I enjoy very much because I always say that a player that is not coachable or doesn't like to be coached, the concept of team, you lose it. You lose a little bit that concept of a team. And I arrived mid-season without pre-season, without 4, 5, 6 weeks to work, to know the players, to develop the team. So we have to do everything while we are running. We don't stop, and we have to do everything, a little bit of everything at the same time. So very important for me that the players are coachable, the players are open, the club has a structure that helps me in every area, and I'm very happy. I keep saying that, and even the bad result against Manchester United and a performance that was not good didn't make me change my approach. I think the boys, they need me, and my job is to try to help them. It's not about me. People speaks about Jose Mourinho updated and version this and that. It's not me. It's them, and I'm here just to try to support them.
Okay, take a question if you raise your hand. We'll get a microphone to you, then we'll go down to Neil and then to the back at John.
Welcome to Munich.
Thank you.
Mr. Mourinho, 2 short questions. Can you imagine to be a Bayern coach one day on that place right now, in the future maybe? And is Bayern Munich calculable because of the performances of Lewandowski, you as a coach? Because Bayern Munich is very depending on his goals. Thanks.
You know, I don't imagine myself in Bayern Munich only for one reason, which is I am so happy with my job that I don't look to the next step. I think I will leave Tottenham one day when the owner, Mr. Levy, eventually the supporters and the players wanted me to leave, because I don't think to leave at all. But that's the only reason I say I don't see myself in such a big club like Bayern Munich is. Dependence on Lewandowski. I think it doesn't matter the dimension of the club and the teams. You always depend on your best players. The better the team is, the less you depend. But you always depend. And you think our team is the same without Harry Kane? It's not the same. And I think that's the reality of the things. He is such a good player. He scores so many goals. He's always there when the team needs him. That, of course, they depend a little bit on him. But the coach, I think he thinks different than me. And I leave Harry Kane at home, and I expect Lewandowski to play.
Okay, take a question from the front here with Neil. If you raise your hand, Neil, so they...
Maybe he gets injured and doesn't play in the weekend. So it's better he thinks twice and doesn't play him.
Hi, Jose. Have you spoken to the players about the manner of the defeat in the home game against Bayern Munich, and are they likely to be scarred by the experience?
It's a good question. But no, I forbid any image about it. I watch it a couple of times. Me, my staff, the analysts, we try to go through every detail of that match, but not one single image for the boys. No, not at all. We are going to focus more on us than on Bayern. We are going to try to develop our model of play, of course, with different bodies, with different faces, with different players. But there is a certain way that we try to play football and to try to develop our principles of play, and we are totally focused on us tomorrow and less on Bayern. That's the way we are going to approach.
Okay, take a question from John at the back. John, if you can raise your hand. Thank you. Bit of a walk.
This last
Hi,
question.
John.
This last one?
No, we're going to do 2 more after this. John, and then finish here. Okay.
Jose, it was 3 weeks ago today that you were announced as the new manager. In that time, what's surprised you about the club, the players? Are things continuing to surprise you?
No, the club didn't surprise me a lot, because before I signed, the couple of meetings I had with Mr. Levy, he was very organized in the way he presented to me the vision of the club and the project and everything in every area, and everything was real. Sometimes you have amazing presentations and then the reality is a different one. In this case, it was not a surprise, because I found the club very, very well organized. And as I keep saying, I just need in some details related to the closed circle of the team to make people understand the way I like to work and make people adapt to me. But the real structure and the great dynamics are there. Very, very happy with that. The players are the players that everybody knows, you know, good players, young players, as I was saying, very coachable. With some little problems, which is normal, that I have to try to attack them, let's say that. But a pleasure to work with the guys.
John, cross down here. And then we'll finish again with this gentleman here. Okay, and that's the last one. John.
Jose, just going to ask you two things really. Could you ever imagine that 7-2 ever happening again? Was it complete freak of nature? And also, just you've got such an amazing record in this competition because the players had such an experience last season. Have you seen in the last 3 weeks enough encouragement to really believe that you can go a long way in this competition this season?
When I arrived, I focused on 2 matches. The first, West Ham, and the second, Olympiacos. And the objective there was to put everything in these 2 matches with one objective in relation to the Champions League. We have to qualify. And of course, if we can qualify in that game and not be here now thinking that tomorrow we need a result to qualify, would be the perfect situation, because it would allow us to focus more in the Premier League. So the first step is done. We qualify. We are going to be in the knockout. The fact that we are second diminishes a little bit the possibilities in the last 16. We play the second match away. We play against a group winner, clubs like I think Barcelona, who else? Paris Saint-Germain, the best will be there waiting for us. It's going to be difficult for us. I think it's going to be difficult for them. When you reach quarterfinal and everything is in the same basket, the teams from the same country, the possibility of a draw at home and away, I think is the moment where everybody has the same chances. So I think our big step will be the first knockout.
Okay, take the last question right here. That will be the last one. Thank you.
One question about your history with the stadium. In 2005, I think you played here the first time with Chelsea, but normally you have not been allowed.
In the Olympic Stadium.
It was an Olympic Stadium. But did you remember this game, the story about it, and that you left the stadium on a special way, I think?
Yes. In here, in Munich.
Yes.
In Munich, yeah.
Could you tell us the story?
Yes, I can. I was suspended. I was in the stands. I couldn't communicate with the team, and I decided the best way to do it was to go to the hotel and watch the game in the hotel and communicate from the hotel. When I arrived in the hotel, it was already 1-0 for Chelsea. We were winning already.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you.